Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Hey guys, how are things this evening? Both me and the lovely Doom are back.
We are indeed. It's
We are-
good to be back.
We are here to talk about lovely, sexy games.
Lovely, sexy games.
Yes, not sexy, lovely games.
Sexy,
Lovely
feathery games.
sex and stuff. Wait, no. That's a different podcast. That's the other podcast we do. One of many. Today, we're going to be a little bit shorter. Doom has to leave earlier this evening due to
Yes.
wifely commitments. Again, selfishness. We know she
God,
knows
no,
we
it's shocking,
she
isn't
needs
it?
us. She knows we need him, and yet doesn't share.
It's as if it's a Sunday evening. There's no trains for her to get home tonight after she finishes work at 11. It's as if, like, she expects me to go and pick her up. It's shocking, isn't it?
It is shocking. But yeah, so Doom has to leave earlier tonight, which is fair enough, obviously. But it means that we are going to try and limit what we speak about because we just haven't the time.
We're gonna try and be as. I don't want to use the word professional because that's overstating it, but we're gonna be as slick as we possibly can be.
Yes. It is a beard, but Doom's beard is long enough that he could probably use it as a scarf.
It's funny you say that. I actually had a beard trim the other day, and it's the bigged beard trim I've ever had. I had just over 2 inches taken off it, and even then, it was just over 2 inches taken off, and even then, my beard is still, if I look down, still reaching my chest. So, shows you like the picture you got the Inkscape off. That was like last year, maybe the beginning of this year. So it had grown more since then. So yeah, but it's looking nice and tidy now. I've actually got some shape to it. It doesn't take me half an hour every morning to make it look presentable. It's just I've had it trimmed into a shape, so I can just get up, wax some beard oil on, and I'm good for the day. So yes.
Beard. I will admit though, it's a fairly decent beard, but compared to that guy in that Microsoft presentation, no, I'm sorry.
I can only dream.
At
I can
E3,
only
no,
dream.
no, he put you to shame, man.
He did.
Now he had a
did.
proper beard.
And I don't think unless things change, I doubt I'll ever be able to get a beard that phenomenal. But you know, there's always hoping. You'd be surprised how the beard changes with time. So the older you get, the better you get at growing beard. So you never know. Maybe in 10 years' time, I'll have a beard like him, and if I do, then the world will be a better place for it. So beards and
I
stuff.
agree with him. We're gonna start today. We have been looking, but we haven't really found a lot of news to discuss.
No,
But there was
nothing that's worth talking about.
Yeah, there was a 50 best video games of the 21st century that that Doom linked me to, which was also posted on the forum by, I believe, Preezy or Poser. If someone beginning with P. I know it wasn't Pedz, because I'm Pedz and I didn't post it. So we're gonna look at those 50 games. We're gonna list them off, and if there's anything interesting, we'll talk about it. And then maybe see if we agree with the top 10, which we don't, probably, because no one agrees with anyone about anything.
No, never.
Exactly.
Especially lists. Lists are, I'm convinced, lists are like the source of all evil because no one will ever agree on exactly the same list. So they talk about, to get very briefly into it, they talk about like religion's one of the big causes for wars. I don't think it is. I think it's lists. I think people throughout time, like Roman times, I bet you anything, what happened was they were like, you know what, this is my top 10 favorite chariots, and they listed them, and some guy went, what are you on about? The X81 shouldn't be in 4th place, that's clearly an 8th place spot. The Emporium 32 is clearly higher, and before you know it, an argument breaks out, and then armies, and then boom. And yeah, so I think I've just solved world war,
Yeah.
all wars. I've solved them.
Yeah.
Stop lists. Hashtag stop lists.
It's true though, because it's like there's on GRcade right now. There is the elimination thread, game elimination thread. There's been a TV and movie so far.
Yeah.
And like I posted in it, and I've posted stuff like, you're a fucking idiot, blah, blah, blah. But I genuinely don't care. The only thing I wanted to keep in there was the games I nominated, and in the movie and TV I never nominated anything, so I didn't care. So half of my posts were just like taking the piss. I actually don't care what wins, just because it wins doesn't change anything. And like Orange Raccoon on there did like a best game for GRcade thing, and it was Super Metroid one there. That wasn't even nominated for this 100 game eliminator. It's just mad, you know?
Crazy. Absolutely crazy.
Get down, Pags. They just come out with a tumble, man.
So because we're slick, shall we? Did we say we'll cover the list in a minute? Should we talk about the stuff that like the biggest points from the week in gaming? Which, for all intensive purposes, is 1 Switch Lite, 2 Link's Awakening, but I think the one that everyone's here for is more than anything else is Untitled Goose Game.
Have you played that at all?
No.
No?
I plan to. I've bought it and I.
Wait, my sound has gone funny. I can't hear anything.
Oh dear.
No, I can. Good. Yeah, it's back. It's back.
But hey, yes, I haven't. I literally just this weekend. I have not had. I've had an hour and a half, and I crammed in some Link's Awakening, which was an hour and a half ago. Up until this point, I literally haven't had time. So, so I'm going away with work, as I mentioned to Pedz. I'm going Monday to Friday. I'll be back Friday. I'm going to have some downtime, so it's going to give me a chance. I'm going to take the Switch, and it's going to give me a chance to play a bit more Zelda and some Untitled Goose games. So I am looking forward to that. So, but yes. Anyway, forget that. Forget my personal stuff. So, what is your like? Are you bothered about the Switch Lite?
The Switch Lite? No, God, no.
No, not
no, well, not at all. I'm not a massive handheld person. Don't get me wrong. I've owned a lot of handhelds. I've owned the Game Boy Color, and the Game Boy Advance, DS, 3DS, Vita, PlayStation Portable, Game Gear. So it's not like I don't like handhelds. I did grow tired of them after a while because I'd rather have just played on a TV. But the fact of, it's saving you a little bit of cash. Not that much when you look around for deals, I guess. But the whole it doesn't work on the TV at all thing is just pointless. The good thing about the Switches is if I wanted to take her away with me, which I could, if I wanted to go, like I take it to Nintendo South Wales when I go down there, when it's in Cardiff, I'll take my Switch with me.
Yeah.
But then I'll play with it on the TV in the house. With the other one, I wouldn't do that. It also means I wouldn't be able to stream any of my fucking games.
It's a good point.
It'd be shite. Shite.
And
it's a waste of money, and any of you buy it, I won't like you anymore.
I think also it limits the game, and that's the thing that I don't get with it. It limits what games you can play because the lack of gyros, and I'm not being funny. I can't imagine including gyros in it would have costed that much more, where they would have to, like, I'm sure they could have kept the price at $199 and still put gyros in. I don't understand that, because as a result of that, you like, not that there's a make or break for a lot of people, but you can't play Pokemon Let's Go, which, like, do you know what I mean? That just seems you literally can't play it because it's in handheld mode. You've got to use gyros, and that's a big game. Like, that's a huge and the worst thing is, how many people, parents who haven't got a clue, are going to go, my child likes Pokemon, and I don't want to spend X amount on a Switch. I'm going to buy them a Switch Lite and Pokemon, and they're going to enjoy themselves. And then they're going to, like, because they don't know anything, they're going to do it, and then their kid wakes up on their birthday or Christmas, open it, and then you've just pissed all over their chits. Do you know what I mean?
And the thing is, I get what Cricket's saying, it is a small list, but it's still a list of games. And a lot of games, like, you buy, which you need to disconnect the Joy-Con for if you want to play multiplayer games, like Mario Party, for example, which is actually quite fun. You wouldn't be able to do that.
Yeah, it's. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. The collector in me wants one to say I've got one. Like, I'm not gonna lie. And at some point in the future, I will own one, but it'll probably be after the life cycle when they're considered an old console. Like, I'll go back and buy Game Boy Advances, Game Boys, old DS Lites, because they're cheap, because they're old consoles. So I'll probably end up doing that just to say I've got one and had one and got it as part of the collection. I do like the I do like the form factor. It's a little bit smaller. They're like, for me, I do use the handheld bit. I use it around the house, but I treat, as I've said many times before, I treat my Switch like a Wii U in terms of it doesn't really leave the house. It's like, if I want to go downstairs, instead of being stuck in my games room, I'll just bring the Switch down and carry on playing. If I want to go and take a shit, I can do that. Like, that's all I use it for. The only other time I take it anyway is to work, when I'm sitting, like during a night shift, when I'm sitting there next to a plug socket. I don't feel particularly comfortable sitting on a train, for instance, with this out. It's a little bit big, it's a little bit cumbersome, and I don't know, it's just a bit thing where the light is smaller, it is a bit more compact, it is more portable friendly. I would feel better about having that out, because it I don't know, maybe because it's the size, it's not so I say not so assuming. You know, if you buy a bright yellow thing, then obviously it is. But you see what I mean? You can buy a grey one and it's smaller, and it's, do you know what I mean? It's from that perspective, I do like it, and I could kind of see where I would use it, but it's just a pain in the ass. Like, I'd be like, I even though the list is small, the fact that it's restrictive has like really annoyed me about that. You know?
Yeah. And again, Crichton, I can understand that some people may not want to play on their TVs at all.
Yeah.
But again, they making it that they can't play certain games. It's like, and future games that come out, are Nintendo then going to hamper those games because of the Switch Lite? Or they're just going to be like, well, fuck the people with Switch Lite. We're doing this anyway. At the end of the day, they've now made it that they're either going to have to put more time into working out a better control scheme, different control schemes, or they're going to hamper one version of the console. And most companies are not going to bother doing that. They're just going, oh, fuck it, we'll just do it so that it's great on the Nintendo Switch Lite, and the original Switch can fuck off, or vice versa. That's my opinion. Like, I'm not saying that is definitely going to happen, but a lot of companies are going to be like that.
Thing is, though, as well, it's a little bit of a different situation with the 2DS. They released the 2DS. It was cheaper. Even the 2DS XL, they're cheaper. They take away the 3DS aspect of the console, which was technically the crowning point, because that was the point of it. But it got to the point where they just, like, if you look at the last year, actually the last 2 year, in fact maybe a little more, last 2 year of the 3DS's life, none of the games, or very, very little games, actually had 3D at all. It got to that point where, like, I was playing, funny enough, it wasn't that long ago, I was playing Ultra Sun, and I flicked on the 3D when I had a 3DS. I eventually swapped it and I've got a Pokeball 2DS XL now. But when I flicked it on, and I was like, oh, it doesn't have 3D. And then I tried a couple of other games that I'd bought recently. Oh, it doesn't have 3D. Oh, it doesn't have 3D. So I can almost kind of see it's going to get to the point where, if maybe this is a little bit like thing, but I can kind of get to the point where these games aren't going to include gyro, because they've made a rod for their own back now. Because if this Switch Lite explodes, which I think it's going to, I think it's just going to, they can't alienate that part of the market. So they either, like you said, put more time into developing a control system that allows you to use games that are traditionally gyro based, like your Pokemon, like your Let's Go, or they don't include it at all, and then you're not you're just killing one of the features that a lot of people really like about the Switch. So
the thing is, though, is the 3D lost the 3D. The 3D like didn't really add to many games at all, even the ones that did it. The Switch is literally removed the connecting to TV feature. It doesn't even have the hardware in the console for you to somehow do it yourself.
The chips aren't there.
As well as that, you're losing out on the gyro, you're losing out on detachable Joy-Cons. So if you did want to play multiplayer, like the whole point of the Switch when it came out, you can play it on TV and then you can take it around, you can have a game together with your two Joy-Con around a table or on your fucking rooftop party. You can't even do that now because you're going to have to buy separate Joy-Con anyway. So a lot of the features that was touted as being great for the Switch are just gone. It's basically just a fucking Game Boy. They should call it the Game Boy Switch Edition.
The Game Boy Switch.
Yeah, because that's what it basically is now.
No, you're right.
It's a Game Boy. It's not a fucking Switch. Well, it is a Switch, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It removes most of the functions of the Switch, and it's just a normal handheld console, which is basically what the Game Boy was.
Yeah.
They should call it the crap Switch. I agree, Crichton. The crap Switch. The non-Switch.
The non-Switch, yeah.
The it.
Yeah. The it, yeah. The thing. But yeah, they're clearly like, this is going to explode. It's going to have big sales numbers. It's going to open a whole new market to the Switch, to Nintendo, and they're not going to alienate those people with any future games that won't be playable on it. They just won't do it. So, like, would you be happy if they went, okay, fair enough, every game we make from now on will have gyro and controller capabilities?
The thing is, right,
and we'll go back and patch the ones that don't. Would you be happy with that? Or,
if they, I don't know, but they need to basically just fucking sort it so that the games will work best on both straight out of the gate. But like, you barely in the same way as my HD Rumble with a crying baby face.
Yeah, that's true.
The point is, HD Rumble, when used well, is actually really good. How many companies now are actually going to bother utilizing the HD Rumble? Now there is no HD Rumble on the Switch fucking Lite.
Yeah.
It's like, it was one of the big fucking things when it came out, this HD Rumble, and it is a really cool feature, like.
Yeah, I
when
really
it's
like
used well. And now it's like, well, we're probably just going to get basic standard fucking Rumble. And I don't know what Rumble the Switch Lite has, to be honest. But I know it's not the HD Rumble. It
doesn't have any Rumble.
Fucking hell.
Which makes things even worse. Exactly. So, it is a wind up, and you can almost envisage Nintendo releasing another version of the Lite in maybe a year or two's time. Well, not even 2 years. It'll be like in another year's time.
Nintendo
anyway.
Switch Lite the way it should be.
Yeah, but they will, because at the end of the day, look at it. You had the 3DS, the 3DS XL, the new 3DS, the new 3DS XL, the 2DS, and then the new 2DS XL. The same console. So full well they're going to do this, and then they're going to go the new Switch Lite, because they're going to do it, and that's going to have the features. And then we're going to get a Switch Pro or a Switch XL, whatever you want to call it. It's going to happen. I guarantee it. We're going to get a new Switch Lite, maybe next year, maybe a year and a half. I don't know. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. I'll put money on it. When it does, we can all come back to this episode and say Doom was correct.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. They probably will do revisions of it, because that's what Nintendo do with their handheld consoles, and that's what they've done since the Game Boy. When they released the Game Boy Pocket and Game Boy Color.
Yeah.
I know Game Boy Color was a bit more of a step up, but it was still a revision of the original.
It was a 0.5 version of the exactly.
Yeah.
It was still an 8-bit system.
Yeah.
And then Game Boy, the GBA, the GBA SP, the Game Boy Micro. Do you know what I mean? It's 3 iterations of the same console. Even the DS.
Yeah,
DS,
the DS.
Lite, DSi, DSi XL. It's like, so it's going to happen. I think we just got to accept that. have
Bastards.
we had a good enough moan about the Switch? Shall we move on to the game releases?
Yes, and I agree, Genual. It is probably due to Doug Bowser because Bowser is a villain.
He is.
He's a
Shocking.
nasty, nasty man. I better not say that about
is.
actually Doug Bowser because he's not a nasty, nasty. I know nothing about Doug Bowser.
Nope.
I was talking about specifically Bowser, the king of the Koopa.
He could be listening. For all we know, he's secretly listening to this, and he's like, "Oh, I was going to give these guys an official Nintendo contract to come and work for me, but no, now I'm not because they don't like me." For all we know, so we better stay on his good side. We get poached from GRcade by Nintendo. You know.
We wouldn't need to get poached. We don't get fucking paid. We don't even get paid with respect.
Dear me. Anyway, so moving on, game releases. So okay, yeah, maybe there are a few other games that have been released, but for us personally, and this is a community show. There's only so much we can also cover, and with time limitations, sometimes we've just got to cover the things that we're personally interested in, and hope that everyone else is interested in them. So the things we're going to talk about, the two games, it's just the two games we're going to talk about. It's Link's Awakening and Untitled Goose Game. I guess we should talk about Link's Awakening first, honk honk. Only because we've both played that and there's been a bit of controversy about it. So, I've seen, and bear in mind, I picked the game up on Friday, or I had it delivered on Friday. Yes. I hadn't had time I literally only until today, about 2 hours ago, whatever it was, I had a chance to play it. Mm-hmm. But until then, I've been hitting Twitter hard, and there's been a huge range of opinions. Some people say it's the best remake of any game ever. Other people say it's the shittest because the game's so broken, and then you've got everything in between. People have said that the frame rate drops are making it unplayable. Other people are saying it's not that bad, it's perfectly fine, and other people are literally licking this thing's arse out like you won't believe. It's kind of like, as it is with Nintendo games, you kind of get that kind of risk. But so I was like, well, what's this big fuss about frame rate? Why? And it was being reported by Nintendo Life, and there's a few people. So I was like, and again, if you read the reviews, they all say, look, okay, there's a little bit of a frame rate issue, there's a little bit of slowdown, but all of them were overwhelming, saying that does not take away from the game at all. It literally doesn't have an effect on the game or the immersiveness or anything. And I've played an hour and a half, and yes, the slowdowns are noticeable, but at not one point did it happen did I go, right, I can't play this game now. It slowed down for about 2 seconds, and then bang, it was fine again. So I was like, oh, okay. What's the big fuss? So, where do you stand on this, Pedz? Are you able to play the game, or is it a big mess that you can't play because of the frame rate drop?
The frame rate for me is irritating. Very irritating, but it still doesn't stop me from playing the game. The thing is as soon as I loaded the game up, I instantly noticed, I hadn't really been reading about people's opinions. I tend not to. I tend to avoid what people are saying about games because I don't care what other people say. That sounds mean. It's not that I don't care. It's a lot of the time I want to make my own mind up and have a view on it untainted.
Yeah.
But I noticed straight away as soon as I loaded the game up, I think I was streaming and I think I said, there's slowdown on the startup. Literally where Marin, I think her name is walking towards Link to wake him up on the beach. There is slowdown instantly as soon as the game loads. And the last game I played where it started like that was Sonic Boom, and I commented on it then. I said frame rate on the title screen or on the opening is not a good thing. So I can't exactly say it about Sonic Boom and then be, well, Link's Awakening's fine because I like him more. That would be unfair on both games because I can't treat one differently to the other. I can. I don't because I'm a nice guy.
No.
But at the end of the day, there's, for me, I've had quite a lot of frame rate issues. I was streaming yesterday and I did comment quite a few times on the frame rate because it was happening. Going in and out of houses, fucking bringing up the inventory screen, various things like that. It is irritating, but it's not something that has stopped me from playing the game. Because I know the game is very, very good. I did comment though that if it probably wasn't for me being used to my PC where I'm playing games at 60 frames per second and it's constant, and it has been like that for the last 2 years, I probably wouldn't have noticed as much or Cade as much. Because before I was always like, don't get me wrong, I played PC games when I was younger. Then from about 90 something to 2015, I didn't really play much in the way of PCs. No. So I was just used to shit on consoles anyway.
Yeah. Well, I think more people. Some people are more sensitive than others. I think we can put. I think I can put it down to we're all more sensitive to different things in different ways. So for me personally, if there's a scent that's too strong, I get headaches. So I can't stand, like, if I ever wear any aftershave, it's like 1 or 2 squirts and I'm done, because otherwise it will give me a headache. I can't walk into Lush. Well, I walk into Lush and straight away it's like I literally get overwhelmed and I get disorientated. I've got to get out there. I'm more susceptible to that. More people are going to be visually susceptible to things like the slowdown, where it will affect them, and it will affect them in maybe similar ways that it does me. So yeah, and there's a personal preference. Like you said, if you're used to playing nice, smooth, silky smooth, 60 frames a second for anything, or any form of slowdown, it's going to be exaggerated because it's something that you don't see all the time. Yeah. I guess because I haven't played PC in a long time, I say a long time, 4 or 5 years. I haven't had a PC worth that has been able to do it. I've migrated fully to console, and I'm happy with that decision. But again, maybe I've just conditioned myself to not. Yeah, okay, it's there, and I just go, okay, just it doesn't.
I think another thing is though, is like someone on GRcade was saying, like, the slowdown for them hasn't actually been too bad, but there was a point where the game, because of the frame issues, didn't pick up an input, and instead of them jumping over a hole, they just fell in the hole. Yeah. So it is actually affecting people as well. So while people are quick enough to dismiss it, when I know it's not Nintendo specifically, it's Grezzo or whatever. If this was another company, I reckon a lot of more people would be complaining. But I think people do let Nintendo off the hook. And while there are people on the forum who are saying like, this is visually like a indie PS4 game, and it's not even a good looking one, you would expect it to be running amazing. But the point is I get that it's a remake of an older game. You would think the Switch would be fine, especially considering while the frame rate issue isn't as bad as Breath of the Wild for me, the frame rate issues are more frequent than Breath of the Wild for me.
Yeah, like again, Breath of the Wild, I actually don't remember seeing any frame rate issues. But again, if I'm used to it, I'm not going to notice it so much. But I actually, I know they would. I'm aware that they're there, but I have never noticed them. But what I would say, like you said, I have noticed these ones, and it is when you're going in and out of things, or when you're walking in, like say the swamp. As soon as you go in there, it does kind of. It janks up for a minute, for a second, and then it kind of moves on. Like you said, Nintendo will end up patch, and they'll probably fix the majority of that.
I agree with Cricken, but there he says if a lot of people complain, there's a good chance Nintendo will put a patch, and I think that's a good thing. I don't think people say, it's not too bad. But Breath of the Wild, for me, I had issues. Like, I didn't find the frame rate to be janky all of the time. Like I said, I find it more frequent in this game, which is a lot smaller in scale and stuff. But the problem with Breath of the Wild for me, I literally had times where I thought the game had frozen for it to then carry on, and I'd taken damage from something because the game had the frame rates had gone to literally like minus 25. Finding a moblin in the snowy area, I forget what it's called, is not a good idea.
No. I didn't really notice it. I don't know why. Maybe it all depends on the situation as well. Like
it literally froze up for me completely. Yeah. You would notice this because you would think, "Fuck, my Switch has crashed," for only to start again a couple of seconds later.
Yeah, like I say, you know, maybe I haven't put myself in a position to be able to see those kind of things. But yeah, there were a lot of, especially on Twitter, there were a lot of people kind of saying, well, this is only a remake of a Game Boy game. Why the hell is it not? You know, and there was one guy saying it's basically just a 2D scroller that's got 3D assets in. Why can't the Switch run it properly and all this kind of stuff? And after playing it, I can see why there's frame rate issues. Apart from obviously it comes down to how the game is, how it's optimized, and the optimization, which will get better with a patch. But it's not just reskinning another game. Like, it's been remade from the ground up.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of assets on the screen. It doesn't matter how zoomed out you are. In fact, the fact that you're more zoomed out rather than closer, like like that immediate third person or a first person perspective, actually means that you've got to take more things in. And although yes, they are of a more simpler type of texture, that means nothing in terms of how well it's going to perform. Just because the character models look very like cartoony doesn't mean immediately that it's now going to run better. It's nothing to do with that. There's a lot of assets going on that game, as you know, even from the fog, from the lighting, from literally everything that's there that's moving. There's a fair amount of stuff on the screen going along, and I can see why it's causing some jank, you know.
The problem we've got is this is coming from Grezzo, which worked on Ocarina of Time on the 3DS, and from what I've heard, that didn't have any of the issues that this game have had. And you would think that being a much weaker console with the game that it is, with Ocarina of Time, would have had more issues. I assume. Yeah. I'm not in the game development things. So I don't know. I would assume. Another thing is there are other games that are using the same kind of view, the same kind of a similar kind of thing. They're not the exact same aesthetic, because I haven't. Yeah. I guess Lego's the closest aesthetic I've seen to it. But there are other games that run fine on Switch that are probably may be more complex in the way they're done. Like, I assume that they've either optimized better or they've actually put time into playtesting.
Yeah, I mean, it does come down to optimization, but Cricken is right. With Ocarina of Time 3D, it's an enhanced port, it's not a remake. So this, I guess, is their first time actually remaking a game for a console they haven't made anything for. So there is that. And crucially, the thing that has always been hit home by the developers is that
I think they've also made their own. I think they've made their own games as well, which are like Triforce Heroes, I think, was made by Grezzo.
Yeah, again on the 3DS.
Yeah.
The thing that keeps hitting home as well is how much the developers were so keen on making this game as faithful to the Game Boy version, which meant making sure that every location has got all the, like, you should be able to compare each bit directly to the Game Boy, and you should be able to see exactly where it's come from. And I think the fact that they've been so adamant that they're sticking to that probably means they've put themselves under a bit more pressure, like, because they haven't reworked anything. Because when you start remaking something from a basic model, things are going to go, like, at the end of the day, it's not as simple as building a basic, like, let's say a Lego structure as to make a building. You don't just look at that and then you go, right, I'm going to do that exactly the same, but to make that building properly now out of cement and everything, I'm going to just do that exactly. It doesn't work. And the more you try and make it as exact as that model, the more problems you come into, because at the end of the day, you're dealing with, well, in this case, you're obviously dealing with assets, you're dealing with textures, and you're dealing with how much processing power this is going to be required to put. Obviously, with the purpose of building, you're dealing with physics, you're dealing with weight restrictions and all this kind of stuff. But the same idea is, they were so adamant that they want to stick to how the base model of the game is to be almost exact. So they're immediately restricting themselves because everything they make has to fit into that model, and they're not remaking the game for the Game Boy where it uses the same assets. They're literally having to remake the whole thing with an old model, and it doesn't work. And I think that's immediately where the problem is. A patch will fix it. From what I've read, the tests that have been done, they've identified it as a CPU bottleneck rather than anything else. It's not a graphic processing problem or anything. It's the bottleneck for the CPU that's causing this, because you get the exact same stutter when you move over to the docked version. So it's nothing. It's to do with the bottleneck basically. So it will be interesting to see. A patch should fix it. Everyone has said a patch will fix it, and you know what? This time next week, a patch will be out for it. You almost guarantee it. You know, it's a bit of optimization. But yeah, I
think this is the first. This is the first game they've done on the Switch, but I don't know. Like, I know they've done ports and stuff of other things, but they've also done their own games. Like, I know they did Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask. They've done Alliance Alive. I have no idea what that is. They've done They did Ever Oasis, which was I think it was a new game which they made themselves. Luigi's Mansion, I don't know if that's an enhanced port or a full-on remake. And then they've done this, so they've got experience. They've been around since 2006.
And you know what? What was I going to say? Yeah, and you know what? What was I going to say? I've lost it now. Yeah. Sorry, it just got back to me now. If they were making this game for the 3DS, they would have nailed it. There wouldn't have been a single issue because they know how to make for the 3DS. It's the fact that this is their first game for the Switch. You know, they're dealing with the tech. You know, they're not used to the technology. They're not used to the way it runs and everything. So at the end of the day, it's new territory, you know, and they're not just doing an enhanced port. They've literally remade a game as their first ever game for the Switch, and that's a big task, you know. Maybe if they had started with a enhanced port to the Switch, like if maybe they hypothetically, let's just say they said, right, well, we're gonna enhance Wind Waker. You know, I know it's already been done, but let's just say they do it for the Switch. They do that, they get a feel for it, and then they go, right, now we're going to remake Link's Awakening. They already know how the Switch works. I bet you anything it'll be better optimized. That's all it comes down to. Experience.
Apart from the frame rate issues, I've noticed, like, some people don't like the look of the game. Me, personally, I think the game looks... one second. Even though it isn't Nintendo in-house, it was still a high-profile release in the Switch calendar. They should have been hotter on making sure it launched smoothly. Send some Nintendo tech folks to help. Like they did with Prime.
Yeah. At the end of the day, you're right. At the end of the day, they made a big song and dance about this game. They needed to be they need it to go as smoothly as possible, quite literally, and for the game to be criticized as soon as it comes out, you know, it's not, especially for its technical ability, you know, it doesn't. I think it's going to sell well. I don't think it's going to stop selling. I think it's going to sell well. I don't think that's going to put people off because it's a patch thing that will fix things. But it leaves that sour taste in your mouth. And like you said, Nintendo, I'm sure they've got guys that would go over there and help them. Or if you're that worried, if you're that stuck, maybe you need to go and ask Panic Button how it's done. I know they do ports, but they know exactly how the Switch works, and the amount of things they've ported over and have made, like, and people are like, how the hell are they doing this? Like, that's. Like, personally, I would say if not that I'm saying game developers listen to this, because that would be incredible if they did, but if you're a game developer and you're trying to make something for the Switch and you're struggling to get the performance, but you know the Switch can do it, you need to go to Panic Button and be like, we need some help. You know, and they've got some wizards that work for them.
To be fair, they should just say, "Oh, Nintendo, is your console fucking help?"
Yeah,
that's what they should do.
I know, but Panic Button have proved themselves over and over again, and they haven't ball once. They know how that system works, and you know, I think if you're a game developer and you need something, if you're building something for the Switch and you can't get the optimization out of it, you need to speak to experienced guys like that, or like
you are right though. The difference is they're working on ports, like they've done games that have been on other consoles, and then they've had to downgrade them. I don't know with this being built ground up straight off the bat. I don't know how that would work. If it would make much of a difference. I don't know. I like going into game development. I once played Game Maker. Well, I say play, had to go on Game Maker, and I tried to do this thing, and the ball wouldn't bounce the way it was supposed to, even though I did everything it said. So I'm clearly not cut out for making games. And it was just a ball supposed to bounce around in a circle, in a square box, and that was it. And that didn't even work properly. I really like the look of Link's Awakening. It reminds me of like a really nice plastic kind of plaything, like Playmobil, but not quite as shit.
It looks beautiful.
I remember, I think it was E3 when they had the treehouse. They actually had like a diorama up with like all the trees and I think they had a couple of houses and stuff, and it literally looked exactly like the game, but it was just plastic toys. I think it does wonders for the game. I think it looks lovely, personally.
Would you like to see? Obviously, let's just say hypothetically, patch comes out, they fix the frame rate issues, it's nice and smooth. It's the question that keeps getting asked on Twitter, and this is for the chat as well. What Zelda game do you want to see have the Link's Awakening treatment in terms of the style and being brought over to the Switch?
Honestly, I would like Oracle of Ages and Oracle Seasons to carry on with the style, because they were in the same style anyway. Yeah, pretty much. There may be differences that I can't think of, but they followed that style, so I think those two games would be great.
It would. I'd love to see the DS games Spirit Tracks and Phantom Hourglass. I think they could be done great in that style as well. Although they've got their own style going on, which works for them. You know, that cell shaded kind of graphics. Yeah. But yeah, even though this Playmobil style, I think would work great for those as well. Also, Yube is right. Animal Crossing in this style would be stunning.
It would be, but the Terminators wouldn't suit. So that's out. Sorry. A new game would be great, yeah, but that's not what was asked. They asked was if an old game was ported over.
Yeah, if something was remade, yeah.
Yeah, so a new game would be great. I would love to have. Don't get me wrong. I like Breath of the Wild. It does have issues other than frame rate that I'm like the lack of dungeons. There's no real progression I feel in there, like there is in the other ones, because it's just such a big open world. It isn't, and it's completely. There's no linear path really, so it kind of. I think that's one of the biggest downfalls for the game for me. It's too open. Which I know a lot of people loved, and this is more of a preference thing. Someone banned Genuel. So yeah, I'd like a new game in that style. Obviously, top-down 2D Zelda, but also a big 3D adventure like Breath of the Wild. But hopefully, they have some restrictions in place, because, like I said, I think Breath of the Wild was too open. In a lot of ways, and I think we had a massive conversation, me, Genuel, and Matt at E3 about the ups and downs of our Wind Waker, our Breath of the Wild thing. So I'm not going to go back into that.
Sorry, I just took my headset off then because I was like, "What's that noise?" I thought my laptop fan was going nuts. I took my headset off, and it's absolutely pissing down out there. I was like, "Holy hell!"
It's like that. You're a couple of hours back. It was fucking bad. I thought my house was going to collapse. It's made out of sticks.
We've obviously got what you had earlier. So, yeah, fun stuff. Right out on the coast by where we are.
is there much else you want to say about Link's Awakening? Because it's already quarter to 10.
No, you know, hour and a half in, really enjoying it. Few people have complained about the way he moves because he's so like static. He just moves up, down, left, right, and he's so like he won't. There's no natural turn. I know why they've done it. It's to emulate that Game Boy style where you're not going to have the smooth transactions. I like it. I prefer it. I actually like that style.
It's a proper fixed 8-directional movement.
Yeah, I like that. I like that with a joystick. Like,
kind of.
Yeah.
Look to it, yeah.
Yeah,
I like
great.
it. I have
Anyway,
no problem with it.
No. So yeah, hour and a half in, I'm happy. I'm going to play some more while I'm away. And yeah, the jitters aren't bothering me. A patch will be out next week, I reckon.
Hopefully.
This will all be
The
good.
one thing I did say about the game, though, is when I was playing it, I was saying this game feels slower than before, and I don't know why.
I didn't play the original, so I can't comment on that.
I did say, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. I played through it in black and white, well, multi-green and colour.
Yeah.
So I was playing it yesterday, and I got the book from the library down, and I was like, okay, this is how to get into the colour dungeon. I've done the colour dungeon, so I went to. It gives you the clue, like, and I went to the place. I was like, this doesn't make sense to me because it literally it's like there's not enough up to do it. So I was like, I can't remember. There you go.
Oh, it's all good.
Honk.
So yeah, honk. Like I said, I haven't played it. I've got it ready to play. I'll play a little bit while I'm away.
Honk.
Have you played Untitled Goose Game? And
I
if
have.
you have you been a naughty goose?
I have. I was a very nice goose. I had a pipe for a while, walking around with a pipe. I didn't want to get rid of it, but I did. And then I was running around with a red bow for a while as well, and then I got stuck to a bush and I couldn't get it back.
Oh,
I was really sad with that.
So is there a point to this game, or is the point just to be like, is it like Goat Simulator but with a goose? Is it just like go and cause mayhem as a goose?
Goat Simulator is I would say is a completely different kind of game. I get where you're coming from. I think they similarize in the most basic of senses. Goat Simulator is just stupid nonsense, whereas I guess Untitled Goose Game is as well. But it's actually enjoyable. There is some kind of direction, and to like the first area you have to do a couple of tasks. You get a to-do list, so you do these tasks. It's like, oh, here's another one, and it's like, all right, cool. And then this one then makes you open a door into the next area, and then it opens up more, and then there's more areas, and you get more and little tasks.
Yeah.
And it's the piano in the game, the music in general is great, but like you'll have like when you're running along and someone's chasing you, the musical on the piano will speed up and get a little louder and stuff, and it's just really, really cool the way it's been designed. Visually as well, man, it's like really quite simplistic,
awesome.
but it looks fucking beautiful for it. No one wants a Goatsy simulator.
Yummy.
But yeah, honestly, you need to play the game. I genuinely think if you don't come away fucking with a massive smile on your face, you just have no soul. So yesterday, basically, I was playing it, and there's this kid. I don't really want to spoil much, but to explain certain things, you have to. And I was chasing this kid along because he didn't like the goose, and he was running away from me. And you can grab things, but you can also press a button to lower your head and grab things that are lower down. And I done that. Okay. And I untied his shoelaces, and he tripped up and fell in a fucking puddle. And then when he was in the puddle, I had this thing pop up saying, "Make the boy fall in the puddle," and it was a hidden objective. I was like, awesome! Yeah!
Oh, awesome.
I really, really enjoyed playing it. I had so much fun. It's just really charming and really funny. some of the stuff you get on with. It's like another part with a different part later on. I was trying to work. I was like, how do I get this vase to break? So I did certain things that didn't work. So I run off with it with like this person next door. There's two gardens together, and just drop her on the floor. And what the guy does is just throw stuff over the wall back to the woman through the vase. Just went smash. I was like, yay! I was like, it was fucking brilliant, man.
So the objective is just to be a nasty goose, basically.
Yeah, basically. I did like duels post, but I'm not going to say on here because I don't want to bring up politics.
That's cool.
It's
so
funny.
What you would say is you strongly recommend everybody trying it.
Honestly, if you have a spare £13 odd, I can't remember exactly how much it is. At the moment, it's 25%
currently on
off.
offer. Yeah, £13.20 something.
Yeah. So say you got £13.50. And you want to play a small indie game that is actually pretty different, I would say, to your normal games. Then again, I say that indie games a lot of the time are quite different anyway. I think indie games are a lot more experimental in general, so I can't really say that. But it's very different to anything I've played. It's kind of like, at the same time as it being a fun little game where you like torment people, it's also very puzzle orientated as well, but not in your typical puzzle game sense. You do have to think about what you're doing to get people to do the things, or for you to achieve your goals.
Yeah.
But it's actually, unlike a lot of proper tidy puzzle games, then it's a lot more enjoyable to do, because you feel like you're actually having more of an effect on things. I guess is a good way to put it. It's like your actions are having an effect on the world in micro worlds, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
And
cool.
I had so much fun. It's like I said before I started the stream, I'm going to play some Untitled Goose Game and then Link's Awakening. And honestly, when I was swapping, I was like, I was really considering just carrying on playing Untitled Goose Game.
Oh, wow.
That's how much I was enjoying it.
Yub here says, did the game introduce any new concepts that caught you off guard? So repetition is his primary concern.
I think the game it's hard to explain, because you start off doing these very simple tasks and they become a little bit more elaborate. I don't think, from the hour or so I played of it, they didn't feel like I was really repeating stuff. And because of the different people you're trying to do things with, it feels very different in how you have to approach things.
Yeah. So
it doesn't feel like you're just repeating the same thing you've done in one area in the next, because you have to think of differently. There are some tasks that are similar, like there's one task, get a certain items onto a certain place. Another one is get a certain items into a certain place. But that's just like one of them in the 3 places I've done. But again, you have to, with the other things, it's very different in its approach to how you have to get the person to do what you want them to do. I hope that helps. I'm not a wordsmith at all. But like, you know, you have to do these little they're like quite simple tasks. Like you just move things to start with, and then like in the next section you're moving things away from someone, swapping it with something else, and then replacing it, or you're chasing someone into some way and they phone someone else for help. You then go into that place and like run around inside the little area that's there. It's like not massive leaps. It's just progression in what you do, and I think from what I've heard, it's very short. so I don't think it'll have time to get repetitive because it's always expanding on the ideas that came before.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
It's kind of like a Mario game in that respect. They expand on their ideas and introduce slightly different ideas throughout the game.
Yeah. But at its core, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Jump and run sort of thing.
I genuinely will say now, if I do not. Yeah, basically. Yeah. I genuinely can't see you getting. I can't see you finding it repetitive. Personally.
The thing is, if this game gets big, which I expect it to, because there's been a fair amount of hype for this game because of its uniqueness. There's every chance they're probably going to make DLC for this, which then expands on the game even more. Do you know what I mean? You can just see
the issue I have is with a lot of games that have a sequel based off a smaller game, and then they have like a bigger sequel. Is the worry then that the sequel then will try and do too much, and they'll lose that kind of inspiration they had, and the magic source, so to speak. I am doing air quotes here, but obviously you can't see me.
It's all good.
But it's just sometimes I find that they try to expand too much upon it, and it kind of loses a bit of its way. I'm hoping that, like, if they were to do a sequel or some DLC, they would, Portal 1 to 2. Portal 1 is a smaller game. It's a lot more simplistic. Not simplistic, then, that's the wrong word, but it's, I guess, simpler in its approach in what you do. It doesn't try and do too many different things in comparison to 2, and I think it's a better game for it. I still think Portal 2 is still funny as fuck. And also the ending song isn't as good as Portal's either. But I agree with you, all that kind of thing is what I'm saying. Yeah. Portal 1 to Portal 2, it kind of expanded too much upon its original premise.
Yeah. Okay, so what we can say is Untitled Goose Game gets the official Pedz stamp of approval. You should go out and buy it.
That means a lot coming from me, because my name is Carl and I hate indie games. Ugh. I'm only joking, Carl, if you're listening. We love you. Even if you are wrong.
Yeah. Okay, so I'd say that's quite a good place to see off the goose and move on to the next and what is essentially the last segment, but it's going to take us a while to go through, and that is this article that came out from The Guardian. They decided why I don't decided to release a list which, as I've said previously, is the cause of all wars, all wars in history. The 50 best video games of the 21st century. It's interesting to say of the 21st century because that obviously cuts out a lot of games that probably would potentially be contenders. So the 21st century is since the year 2000.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll start up the list. Maybe we'll do 10 each and we go from there, and just stop me if there's anything that really stands out to you. So bearing in mind nothing before the year 2000 could be on this list. So at number 50, SingStar. That's the PlayStation 2 one with is that the one? That's the one, isn't it?
I know it's on PlayStation. I thought it was PlayStation 3 though, but I don't know.
No.
I've never played it. I've got a PlayStation 3 game. It came with one of my PlayStation 3s, but I've never played it. But it must have been 2002 as well. Because it came out in 2004, it must have been on the PlayStation 2, because the PS3 came out in 2006 or 7 or 5. It was after that, yeah.
And it was basically the singing version of Guitar Hero,
it's kind of like Twitch Sings, but not as fun because Twitch Sings. People can laugh at me while I play it. So.
So interesting. That's on the top 50 list of the 21st century. But there we are. So number 49, Katamari Damacy. So
Never played it.
I've got no. this is recently just had a re-release on. Is it just the Switch or is it other consoles?
I think it's the Switch and PC, maybe, or just the Switch. I'm not sure, but I know it's had a recent re-release on the Switch. But I also believe it hadn't been in Europe and officially until this release.
Yeah,
or at least the UK.
So, So there we are. Katamari Damacy. Number 48 is Journey.
Didn't like
that's
it.
PS4.
Didn't like it.
Didn't like Journey.
No. One thing I did like, though, was someone on the forum saying they really enjoyed the game and the AI partner was amazing and everyone was laughing at them because in the game, if you come across someone, it's actually a real life person and you don't talk, you just play the game together. That's it, like. So it was funny to think that they obviously didn't realize that. It's not funny, it's like, you're a moron. It's funny that they just assumed it was a single player game. And that they thought the AI was really good, but it turned out they were just having fun with a person without realizing it. You know?
Hello?
Hello?
I can't seem to hear Pedz anymore.
No!
This is confusing. One second. Let me back out of this.
Doom's fault, not mine. I didn't do
There we
anything. I didn't do anything. Doom did it. Doom did it.
Literally, you just cut out, and I was like, "Oh, it's gone really quiet all of a sudden."
Yeah. No, I was basically saying that someone on the forum was saying how they really enjoyed playing with the AI. That is the best, one of the best AI, or the best AI they've ever played with the game.
Yeah.
What the fuck is going on with my stream? And not realizing that if you come across a person, it is actually a real life person. And while it was fun, while it was funny, I don't think it was you're a moron. It was more it's you've spent an entire game playing with someone, not speaking, and still achieving things and having a lot of fun, like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Okay. It was interesting. Anyway, number 47 is Dead Space. Okay.
I really liked Dead Space when it came out. The problem I had is I got to a specific area where this tentacle bastard was grabbing my leg and dragging me along. And you have to, like, I think shoot it to get it off you. But I had pretty much no ammo. So I was basically stuck as I'd saved just before it, obviously not realizing what was going to happen. I was then either restart, and I think it wasn't the first time. I think it was like, it happens a couple of times. Of course, then I was then in a position where it's like, well, I got to restart. And I'm like, well, fuck that. I'm not restarting. Fuck you with your bad game design.
Yeah. Fair enough. I'm not a big fan of horrors, as I've mentioned before in the past, so I haven't personally played it. But I know it's a popular series, so the first game being at number 47 means not a lot to me, but I'll take it. So number 46 is Limbo.
I liked this look of this game, but I didn't really enjoy playing it in the end.
Okay. Because again, it's kind of a 2D side scroller, but again, it's kind of that horror kind of thing, isn't it?
Yeah. It's very I want to say plain in the way it is. There's like, I don't think there's any blood or anything. It's all black and white.
No.
But saying plain, I think, is a bit of a disservice because you know, it's very artistically quite pleasing, I guess.
Yeah.
Depending on what you consider to be artistically pleasing.
Yeah. So, number 45, we have Papers, Please. Ever heard of this?
I have. I think it's a PC and mobile game, or just a PC game, or PS. I can't. I have. I heard it's very good. I've never played it, but it's supposed to be like you work on a border patrol. You have to then make decisions which could affect people's lives, and I think you find out what happens to them and stuff. And I think it's meant to be quite a very thought-provoking game.
Yeah.
Because it's like very ethical and shit like that. So you know.
You can see that eventually making its way to the Switch. It's one of those games that you can see happening. But yeah, you're right. It's one of those that it's about letting people in, I guess, in and out of a war-torn country. That people are constantly trying to smuggle things past you. Young children using fake passports, all this kind of stuff, to rejoin the rest of their families. And it's about making the right, I guess it's about making the right decision and the consequences of those right decisions, or making what is technically not the right decision but maybe morally is, and it goes from there.
When we get in the Brexit edition, everyone out.
DLC papers, please. DLC, Brexit DLC. You can see it happening.
Sorry, don't bring up stuff like that. People will go fucking insane. I'm a naughty boy. Spank me.
You sounded too enthusiastic about it, and you were like, "A naughty boy, spank me." You sounded a bit too keen there. Number 44, Forza Horizon, the first one. That's the only Forza Horizon game I haven't played, but it set the standard. So
I actually think I haven't played Forza Horizon 1, but I much prefer Forza Horizon to Forza Motorsport because I don't find it as dull. And I really like Forza Horizon 3. I haven't really played 4. I think I may have done the opening race, getting to the festival at the beginning, and that's it.
Yeah, fair enough.
There's enough sheep.
Yeah. What's that?
I said I didn't see enough sheep.
Didn't see enough sheep.
Yeah.
Number 43, Rocket League. I thought that was going to be a little bit higher personally, but I can kind of get maybe why it's lower down. There's a quite large skill curve that really nails people at the beginning. So, but it definitely deserves space on the top 50. So I'd like to see.
I agree. I think Rocket League is the best football game that's ever been made.
Yeah. It's an
by
incredible
far
game. It's a game I keep going back to. I'll never get tired of it. And yeah, it does what it does well. And long may it continue. 42.
I also am shit at Rocket League, do you know well, and I still love the game.
Yeah. It's just having fun in it. Yeah, it can get on your tits sometimes, and there are days where nothing's going right. You can't win a game. You get dicked over. You got to walk away. It's one of those games that you got to know when to walk away. Otherwise, you'll end up tearing your hair out. And I've made that mistake once or twice. Anyway, number 42, Burnout 3 Takedown.
I haven't actually played Burnout 3. I've played Burnout 1, I've played Burnout 2, I've played Revenge, I've played Paradise, but I haven't played any other ones, if there are other ones, apart from 3.
Yeah.
But the one I enjoyed the most was Revenge, because I enjoyed playing it back on the 360 with people from Games Radar, the forum that GRcade came from. It was a lot of fun playing that with them, to be honest, online. Yeah, really enjoyed it.
Fair enough. Number 41, Overwatch. Again, not surprises on the list. Was expected to be a little higher, but, fair enough.
Overwatch, for me, is a game that I really enjoyed at the start, and then I just got bored and stopped playing.
I see why. It's set a standard when it comes to online first-person shooters. It's definitely set a standard, and...
I think it's set a standard in this kind of shooter. I don't think it's set a standard for online games. And the problem as well, I think one of the problems with Overwatch, same with Rocket League for me, is just how toxic the community is. Overwatch is one of the worst places to play an online, is one of the worst communities I've ever fucking seen.
Blizzard have made an effort, or are making efforts to try and contain that, but you're never going to contain it. Unless you permaban people. It
reminds me of being on Xbox Live back in 2006 and 7 and stuff. It reminds me of the people then. I don't like it.
Number 40, Gears of War 2. I thought this was going to be higher.
I'm surprised, actually, that this is on here. Because, not Gears of War in general, but this one. Simply because most people cite the first one as their favourite or the third. So I would have expected to be one of those, but for me personally, Gears of War 2 is actually the one I prefer, and I've said that since I played it. Gears of War 2 is my favourite Gears of War. I'm pleased with that.
Yeah. I think we can all say for sure, Gears of War Judgment is not going to be on this list. I think that's easy. I think we can say that quite convincingly. Number 39, again, something I expected to be higher because it's an absolutely iconic game. It's the one that a lot of people started playing this series in. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 2. I was expecting this again. I would have thought top 20 for this game because this was the one that introduced. I know number 1 came out, but this is the one that was on the. This is the one that a lot of people picked up as their first one, and it stood the test of time. You can go back and play this game now, and it don't feel old.
I preferred 3.
I preferred 4. So but if it wasn't for 2, I wouldn't have got into the series. So I think
I first one I played was 2, but 3 is the one I definitely played the most.
Yeah.
I had like Bam McGregor,
yeah,
from Jackass in there, and
my favorite skater has always been Rodney Mullen, and he's in all of them, and he's a phenomenal guy.
My favorite skater in there was Pedz. He was really cool. He had long, sexy hair like I used to have, and he was thin like I used to be. It was great.
reliving the old days. So this one is gonna. I can sense we're gonna get. This one's gonna trigger cricket big time. Number 38, Smash Bros. Melee, or if you want to trigger people, just call it Smash Bros. Meal, and people can't get it. But yeah, so I'm expecting a cricket trigger there because I think if it was up to him, this would probably be number 1.
Personally, this is my favorite Smash Brothers. I have played the ones after this, and I've never gotten into the games like this one.
I would agree. For me as well, even though Ultimate's out, the peak of Smash Bros was Melee, and it still is, and it's the one that people still prefer to use for competitions. It's crazy. To be honest, let's be fair. And yeah, Cricken shares that opinion. Let's be fair. If they just came out and said, let's just pretend Ultimate didn't exist, and they just said, look, we know Melee is got an amazing following. We're going to remaster it, but keep everything the same. Just
honestly, I wouldn't have minded if they not remastered it so much, but say they did remaster it, or they even made Smash Ultimate but used the exact same physics and shit as
why
Melee. I think that would be the best. This Ultimate would be my favorite Smash Brothers then, if it was basically the same physics and that kind of thing, just with more characters and stages.
Yeah, what I don't get is Melee is the perfect Smash Brothers game. Why didn't they just take that model and add more characters to it rather than change change little bits of gameplay which people have got complaints about? Why don't they just take that game, add more characters to it, and that's Ultimate? Why do they have to tweak it? Why does it have to be different when that is the best one? I don't understand personally.
Brawl was definitely my least favorite.
I didn't mind Brawl, but
to be honest, Doom looks all the same to me. All the Dooms, so horses for courses.
So, but Cricken's just pleased it's on the list. So that's fair enough. Anyway, 37, Silent Hill 2.
Never played it.
Never played it. Nope.
I haven't played it simply because I haven't played it. I did consider downloading it illegally, so to speak. And getting mods to play it after the Silent Hill 2 and 3 HD came out, and it was supposed to be really, really fucking abysmal. So I was considering getting 2 and 3 and doing the mod stuff, but I just never bothered because I just couldn't be arsed.
Yeah. There you go. Genuel said Silent Hill 2 is incredible, probably my favorite horror game. I fair enough. If that's again, I'm not a horror person at all, so. It's definitely not for me. Wouldn't be on my list, but that's for obvious reasons. Number 36, Spelunky.
I like Spelunky.
I've heard this one. Never played it, but
it's a fun game. It's the problem with the game for me is I like a game where you can play a game and learn your roots and whatever. Yeah. In this kind of game, then, but it's kind of a roguelike, so you don't get that. But it's still the thing is, this is one of the few roguelites or roguelike or roguelite. I'm not sure which one you would class as roguelike. I think this is one of the few roguelites that I would consider playing more again, because it's actually enjoyable. I'm, in general, not a fan of roguelikes.
No. I've got to be in the mood for them. But yeah, you know, I've never played the game, so I can't say too much on it. No, I'm going to have to rattle these off a bit quicker because of my time constraints.
Yeah.
Number 35, Assassin's Creed 2.
Taking longer because most of the games I've played and I enjoy. I don't enjoy, sorry.
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed 2 is great. I don't know if I prefer this or Brotherhood, but I definitely prefer the way assassinations work in the first game.
Yeah. 34, Arkham Asylum.
Best Batman.
Yeah. It's a cool game. Really like that. Number 33, Battlefield 1942. I am all over that. I played a lot of that on PC back in the day.
I've played little of it, so I can't comment.
Awesome game. Okay, interesting one. At number 32, Call of Duty 4 Modern Warfare. I really would think this would be higher.
I'm surprised that Modern Warfare 2 isn't there because a lot of people prefer that, whereas I personally prefer this myself.
Fair enough. Number 31, God of War, as in the 2018.
I haven't played it. I wanted to play all the other ones first, as in 1, 2, 3, and then Renegade, something or other. We begin with R. Yeah.
Fair enough. Number 30, Shadow of the Colossus.
Got bored by the fifth one.
The fifth version of the same game, yep.
No, as in the fifth Colossi or whatever the hell you say.
Oh, I see what you mean. It turns out, like, not to spoiler it, if just warning, spoilers, maybe mute it for about 5 seconds. But with Shadow of the Colossus, it turns out you're the bad guy killing these innocent things anyway, so you feel like shit at the end of it. So it's like,
you end up in this place. From memory, you end up in a certain place trying to revive a dead girl, and to do that, you have to do this, murder these things, and then it revives that. I think. I don't know if anything happens or whatever, because I only got almost halfway through and got bored.
Oh, there we go. Exactly. Number 29, DSX 2000.
Shit.
I
haven't played it. I just wanted to say it to see what you Bellian's reaction would be in chat. I know you Bellian, Ginny Wells.
Yeah. Number 28, Wii Sports. I'm surprised it's on the list.
I'm not, because it was a massive selling thing for Wii. Even people who don't like games like Wii Sports. The only thing I can compare to Wii Sports is Wii Fit, and even that, not for I would say for range of people playing, but even that doesn't compete. And I will say that Wii Sports, even now, I was playing the other day on my Wii U, is still fun to fucking play.
You know what?
Fuck the haters.
I'd be all up for a Wii Sports port to the Switch. I'd be all up for that.
I'd be up for some online Wii Sports. The problem is Nintendo's online service is shit.
Yeah, this is true. But I'd be all up for some online Switch port version. Yes, that'd be great. Number 27, Guitar Hero.
I like Guitar Hero. I prefer Rock Band, but I like Guitar Hero. I guess Guitar Hero was the one that really kick-started it, like so.
Yeah, exactly. 26, Left 4 Dead. That's a great game.
I was always a thing of Left 4 Dead. I prefer to Left 4 Dead 2, but in Left 4 Dead 2, you can play all of Left 4 Dead. And the mods that are there for Left 4 Dead 2, like I said, I played through fucking Disney, all of Disney World or Disneyland with a couple of the guys before when we were doing PC Fridays for GRcade, and we had a fucking blast. Awesome.
Yeah. It's a great game. Number 25, Ico. I think I'm saying that right. Never played it. Ico. There we
go. Ico. Don't like it. Even worse than the other one. Shadow of Colossus. Nope.
Okay. Number 24, The Last of Us.
Brilliant game.
I've heard it's great. I don't own a PS4, so
it's on the PS3 and the PS4, and it is fucking brilliant. I get there are some issues that people have with the game, like with some of the gameplay elements, and that's fair enough. And I wouldn't say it's the Citizen Kane of gaming, because that's bullshit. But I think compared to a lot of other games, it does raise the standard a bit in storytelling, and it is genuinely, for the most part, fun to play, and it's interesting and just keep you engaged story-wise.
Cool. Number 23, I was expecting this one to be higher. Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask.
Probably my favorite 3D Zelda. I'm not certain, but I definitely prefer it to Ocarina.
You know what? I haven't finished this game. In fact, I've never owned this game. I've only ever played it when a friend had it, and I ended up borrowing it from him for my N64, and I played it then. But you know what? It just improves on Ocarina of Time. That's the way I see it. It just improves on it.
It's a smaller game in a lot of ways, but at the same time, it feels bigger because of the 3D mechanic and the stuff you have to do on each day and stuff like that. It's just really interesting in the way it is.
Yeah, and
in my opinion.
What? If they maybe, I'm not saying they want to do it in the same style, because they don't, but if they ever want to do a remake, that's the game I want to remake. I don't want to see a port. I want to see a full remake. That potentially could be great. Yeah. Number 22, Mario Kart 8.
Definitely my favorite Mario Kart of recent years. I prefer Mario Kart 8 on Wii U to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I think the way I think the items in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe kind of make the game a little worse.
Okay, yeah. Youb says, love Zelda in general, but Majora's Mask can do one. Any particular reason why you say that? So,
because he's a fool.
Wouldn't mind seeing an enhanced version of the 3DS. Yeah, if they want to just if they want to HDify the game like they did with Wind Waker, HDify it, stick it on the Switch. I'd be all up for that.
The time restraints really make the game though, and the point is like they're not overly restrictive.
No.
And you can explore. As you progress through the game, you get better things to get further quicker. And I think the time mechanic is actually one of the better features in any of the Zelda games, other than the Dark World.
And it's that moon. I'm not being funny. As a kid, when I first played that game, that moon is menacing.
I'm sorry, the time mechanic as well that I love is as the time progresses, as it starts, it's like, the moon will not come down. And by the end of the third day, everyone is gone.
Shit.
Everything is fucking, I just love the progression.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Anyway, we got to move on. Number 21, Mass Effect 2. Again, probably expect Majora's Mask to be higher than Mass Effect 2, but that's just a personal opinion.
I prefer Majora's Mask to Mass Effect 2, but Mass Effect 2 is my favorite Mass Effect in a lot of ways. I think the gameplay is better in Mass Effect 2, but I think I know there's aspects of 1 and 2 that I'm interchangeable on. I still think both are better than 3, even though I did enjoy 3 until the last hour, I'd say.
Yeah, cool. Right, so bearing in mind this is the list for the 50 best video games of the 21st century. Number 20 is Fortnite. That one can shit on itself for all I care. I don't know if anyone else disagree?
When Fortnite first came out, I had quite a lot of fun playing it. It's just, you barely, I think, really liked Fortnite, but for me, I enjoyed it at the start, especially when Friendly Fire was on. Yeah. That's where the damn it Pedz sound effect comes from, where I blew up Xanthan with a grenade. But I think after they removed that, I just stopped caring.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Batman's in it. I'm gonna have to play it now. Ugh.
Yeah, Batman's in it.
Grand Theft Auto 4 is number 19. Sorry, I just saw it. Yep. It's the fucking worst Grand Theft Auto I've played, and I don't like Grand Theft Auto either. And this game is still a load of wank. Ugh. Fuck off.
Yep. Number 18, Red Dead Redemption 2.
Not played it, but I heard the balls are nice on the horses.
Yeah, so great. Again, a lot of people would have put that higher, but I'm fine with it being there. Number 17, The Sims. Again, iconic game. This is the original Sims. Now, I put a lot of time into that as a kid. Again, best video games of the 20. Like,
I think I played quite a bit of The Sims 2, but after a while, you just get to. Well, I got to a point where I would literally have my the way my sim person would do things. It would just be like, make them just do this exact routine all the time. Boom, done, I'm amazing. And it's just like, yeah, it's kind of boring. No one lives their life. No average person lives their life that way then, so it's not really simulation. It's more of a simulating the most boring life possible thing.
Yeah, it's basically simulating hell, essentially.
Yeah.
So
Hell
Simulator. That's exactly what it should be called. Number 16, Uncharted 2, Among Thieves. Haven't got a PS. Haven't had the PlayStation in ages.
Thoroughly enjoyed Among Thieves. It is in my preference order of the ones I've played. It's 2, 1, 3. I haven't finished 4. I was playing it, but then a new game out and I started playing that. I want to go back to 4 and carry on from where I left off because I don't like restarting games. Because if I'm replaying the same stuff a lot of the, not all the time, but a lot of the time, I'll just knock it fucking off and not go back to it.
Yeah.
Which is why I don't replay a lot of games.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. Number 15, Resident Evil 4. Great.
I think the thing is Resident Evil 4, I really like Resident Evil 4, and it's quite influential, but I prefer the remake of Resident Evil 1, and I found that was a better survival horror game than Resident Evil 4. I think Resident Evil 4 was the turning point of the action Resident Evils. So.
Yeah, fair enough. Super Mario Odyssey is number 14. Again, maybe not surprises in the top 20.
I prefer Galaxy myself, but I can understand why it's there for a lot of people.
Yeah. Number 13, World of Warcraft. You know what? Me personally, if this was my list, this would be top 10. But 13, I can't complain. If we're talking about most influential games, this for me would be like top 5 easy. But
I think it would be. I think though, like games like RuneScape and stuff would also be quite influential, which came out before it. And I think they just took the template and kind of expanded upon it.
They just added on it, and with great success.
Yeah.
You know?
I would like to say to Ubelian, I do believe in Majora's Mask. There are owl statues you can save at. So you can just save by an owl statue and then crack on. So I don't think the 3-day thing will matter, because you can also slow down time, and if you're not finishing the dungeon within the 3-day limit, it doesn't matter that you are. It doesn't matter if you're playing a very short amounts of times. It just means that you're standing around doing literally nothing but looking at a fucking wall for 3 days in game time. Because the dungeons are made so that you can do them within like probably a day, half a day. If you know what you're doing, at least, anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, number 12, Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain. It's on Game Pass. I haven't had a chance to play yet, but I've heard it's amazing.
I'm not a Metal Gear Solid fan. Sorry, guys. I know I'm like the voice of reason here, but I just don't get on with stealth. I just don't get on with it. Sorry.
Yeah. It's all good. Number 11, Elder Scrolls 5 Skyrim. Again, I personally think it should be top 10, but, number 11.
I wouldn't put it in my top 10. I do prefer some aspects of it over Oblivion, but I prefer a lot of the story stuff in Oblivion, like the...
Yeah.
I think the gameplay is improved, but that's not saying much for the gameplay in the Elder Scrolls games. It's not exactly...
No.
I think what they do is build they do a good world.
Yeah, they do a very immersive world, and that's what their strength is. But
the problem with our world is it has crabs because there's so many fucking bugs. Right, anyway, number 10?
Yep. Number 10, Bloodborne. Hate
Don't
those
like
kind
them.
of games.
Don't like them.
No.
Boring. Nah.
Thank
Shit.
you.
Fuck off.
Number 9, BioShock. Again, haven't played it personally.
BioShock. I loved BioShock. I think now a lot of people will say it's a bit... even though it's not that old, it's still a bit...
Yeah.
It hasn't kept up with the times. It's a bit hard to go back to. And even at the time, it still wasn't, like, massive. But the story stuff I really liked. And I do think after the reveal, it gets a little worse. And the final boss is shit.
General said Skyrim is worn on me really thin now. Agree that Morrowind is better. Personally, I didn't play Morrowind, but I like Oblivion. That was my first one. I probably prefer Oblivion slightly over Skyrim. But I do enjoy Skyrim. I played on the Switch, and it's all good stuff. Number 8 is Portal 2.
Yeah, I prefer Portal. I just think the game is better. It's smaller. It's more contained. I still love the comedy aspect of Portal 2, but I just think that Portal is a better game, and they expanded too much, which I was saying earlier, not even realizing Portal 2 was on this list.
Yeah, it's all good. Number 7, Halo Combat Evolved. I get why it's on the list, but not so high. Personally, I wouldn't put it so high. I'm not a fan of the positioning. Number 6, Grand Theft
one thing I
Auto
will
5.
say though is this has been an argument on the forum, is that it's saying like an idea of a first-person console was laughable on a console. That's bullshit. Before Halo, there were games that used the exact same control scheme. This just popularized it. It didn't innovate it. It popularized it. And also, as you barely said, Halo 2 had a bigger impact than CE. So fuck off, Combat Evolved.
Number 6, Grand Theft Auto 5. Again, not surprised it's on the list. Not surprised it's so high. Meh, I wouldn't have had it so high, but hey, great. Number 5, Witcher 3. Anyone
Wild
surprised
Hunt.
That's in the top 5?
I am not.
Anyone surprised?
I'm surprised because I know it does a lot of good story aspects and it's got a lovely world now, but I hear that like the gameplay itself is not very good. I guess when you're doing a list like this, you have to look at every single aspect and weigh them up against other games, but you know, I have not played it. I want to play it, but I also want to play the first two, but I was really struggling with the first one when I was playing that.
Yeah. Number 4, Half-Life 2.
Brilliant game. Loved it.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. This one I have a problem with being in the top 5 because it's broken. Number 3, Dark Souls. No, get out.
Yeah,
it's not one of the best games.
Go away.
Just GTFO. It shouldn't. If it wants to be in the top 50, I agree. It doesn't need to be number 3. They've made it. The way I see it is they made a game that is poorly controlled, and they've said no, that's part of the difficulty behind the game. No, that's your excuse for not making a game that doesn't work properly. That's my rant over with.
And it's also been play tested by the people who play tested Sonic 06, in my opinion, because it is fucking wonky as fuck.
Yeah, don't like it.
And the thing is the thing I love most, I know I'm keeping on a bit, is back when it came out, people were fucking all over it because it's a hard game. Oh, real gamer, so hard. Yeah. Same with Demon Souls. And then a little bit after, it's like, yeah, fuck difficulty. It's a hard game, whatever. And it's like, no, there's more to it than that. And then it's like other reasons came up like 3 years after it came out. But up until then, it's a fucking really hard game. It's like a proper old school game. And it's like, no, it's not. It's janky as fuck. Fuck off.
Yeah.
Fuck off.
Yeah. Number 2, Breath of the Wild.
I wouldn't put Breath of the Wild as... No, I wouldn't. I think, like I said, Majora's Mask would, for me personally, be higher than Breath of the Wild. I like Breath of the Wild, but it does have issues. And again, I miss some structure to the game. I don't think every fucking game series or game needs to be open world. It loses narrative shit. It loses focus. It's the same for me with like the Mario games. They become not open world. They are big playful arenas, and again, it for me it loses focus, and I don't like that.
You like going from A to B?
Yeah, I don't mind a little bit of detouring, but no fucking 90 hours of walking over there for nothing.
Yeah, I mean, I agree it should be in the top 50. For me personally, it'd be in the top 15 games, maybe the top 10. Like at a push for me, but I understand why it's in the list. Maybe it's over exaggerated as to why it's so high. Number 1, I've got to go any second now. Number 1, Minecraft. Why the fuck is this game at number 1? I have no idea, but what I would say is I love Minecraft. I love the concept of it. I've spent many hours on it. I agree that it should be in the top 50 because it's an incredible game, and you can sink loads of hours into it, and it's very creative, but there's no way in hell it should be number 1.
No,
whoever
it
made
should
this
not
list,
be number 1. Is a
my job. I'm a support worker and a carer by trade. That is what I do. And the person who came up with this list, I'm not being funny. I've got if I find out who it is, I'll have an immediate urge to probably want to support them. Minecraft at number 1 is just ridiculous.
Yep.
I don't agree with it.
How much did Microsoft pay for that then? That was a joke, by the way. But seriously, I don't think Minecraft should be number 1. But honestly, I like Minecraft. I liked it more before I had kids who were playing Minecraft, because it was all about Minecraft, and then it turned me off the game.
I love Minecraft, and when I've got a baby on the way. When they grow up, I'm going to try and encourage them. If they want to play Minecraft, great, perfect. I'll play with them, and great. I agree it should be in the top 50. For me, that game would come in the top 25, probably.
I don't think for me. The problem is it has had a lot of influence on a lot of things. It's one of the biggest games ever. You can understand why it's in the list, and maybe why it'd be number 1 for like children, like young children, but I don't know.
Yeah.
Then again, some of the things you can do are so fucking complex.
Yeah.
It is not I know it looks like it's a game for little children, but there is a lot more to it. Like,
well, the game is actually used by architecture and engineering students to build models now. That's how advanced it can get.
Yeah.
So the fact that people could build working models of things and to scale models for buildings is nuts. So it shows you like how. And it's great for teaching kids.
I hope they don't use Minecraft for fucking decor though, because your building would look ugly as fuck.
Yeah.
Hey, let's look at this thing. It looks like it's from a fucking Atari on my wall.
Rightio. I'm gonna have to shoot like literally now. I've got to go.
I'm surprised No Man's Sky wasn't in there. The problem is I think it's going to go by how it originally was for a lot of people, and that was such a disappointment for me. I'd love to go back to now, especially with VR on PS4.
Yeah. If they take it as it is now, I think it should definitely be in the top 50. I think they're taking this from when it was first released, and obviously it wasn't great. Also, I know I'm biased, but Sea of Thieves would probably be in there somewhere. I'm just saying.
I think it might be my top 50 games, maybe, because of the amount of fun I've had multiplayer with it, but I think that game lends itself to the multiplayer thing. I think if I was playing on my own, I'd be bored shitless.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. It's cool. I agree with that. Anyway, I don't know, Pedz, are you going to keep it going for a little bit, or are we signing out here?
I would like to keep it going, but I obviously don't know how long you're going to be, so I will probably end.
Yeah, I'm picking up my missus. We're going to McDonald's, we're eating, and then we're going to bed because I've got to get early.
So I'm not going to carry on. I may continue streaming if anyone is up for some Rocket League or something like that. So we just have a bit of multiplayer fun. Otherwise, I will end and go eat some ice cream.
Awesome. Sorry to be in such a rush. I knew it was always going to be tight, but such is life. Yes, so maybe we end here. Thanks for everyone for tuning in. It's been great. I've had fun. I'll be here next week, and this time next week I'll be able to tell you the sex of my baby, because we're having the gender reveal party a week today. So
Cricket said, keep the podcast going, and Doom can come back to review his McDonald's.
That's not a bad idea, but I'm going to be going straight to bed. If it wasn't for the fact that I'm going away with work tomorrow, I probably would do that.
Yes, I don't even know how that music got there, do you know well? I uploaded a new file with all the music cut out at the end, and Devlin re-uploaded that as episode 15 brackets fixed. And yeah, last week I said it was the 14th episode. It was actually the 15th. Which is this is 16th. What it was is on GRcade. The title said episode 13 out, so I just assumed that the last one we done was episode 13. I should have really either known or checked, because I've still got all the files of episodes 1 to 14 on here and the E3 episodes, so I should have known, because I'm a moron.
It's all good. Anyway, right, so if you want to follow me on Twitter, because I'm spending a lot more time on Twitter than I am anything else now, it is at the Doomspoon. If you want to follow me on Instagram, where I post random shit, either about my cats or about Barry and pictures of random shit, you can follow
Barry?
me at Barry. Yeah, I just follow a guy. I just find a guy called Barry and I follow him around a bit, take pictures of him while he sleeps and stuff. It's what I do. It's the usual thing I do. You can follow me at BASainty. If you don't know how to spell my second name, have fun with that, because a lot of people do. So, yes. Anyway, I've got to go. Pedz, it's been fun. It's been emotional as always. I will see you next week when I am back. So,
yep, definitely. Hopefully you'll be available for another lovely GRcade Twitchcast.
I'll definitely be available next week. And yes, as I said, we would have had the gender reveal party, and I'll be able to tell you what my baby's going to be. So good stuff all round. I've got to go. I'll see you all very soon. Goodbye.
Catch you later, Doom. He's still here. Can't talk about him till he's gone.
Right. See you guys later.
Yeah, catch you later, man. And with that, I am going to end, like I said, unless people are up for some lovely Rocket League or something multiplayer-wise, I don't see the point in playing anything tidy. I say tidy. Yeah, so. Anyway, I'm just going to end the podcast section by saying goodbye, so the listeners who are listening afterwards, like the people who listen afterwards, can knock it off. Thank you for tuning in to the 16th GRcade Twitchcast. Don't forget to check out grcade.co.uk. If you have, we were going to do questions and stuff this week, probably, but we didn't really have the time. So if you want to PM Pedz or the Doom Spoon on GRcade with a question, or as Doom give you his Twitter handle, I don't know mine, message him on there, then we can get to them next week. Other than that, yeah, check out grcade.co.uk, as it's showing on the stream now, I think. And I will see you next week. I will be back, hopefully Monday, with a retro game. And that is it.